Right now, standing in the Bugis area. This is one of the places where I come to most often. This building right here is the library, the main building of the National Library. Very beautiful place. Yesterday there was the National Day in Singapore. So you can see out here, stop and happy birthday Singapore. This junction here is always pretty busy. That's one of the better known streets in the city, Victoria Street. What you see behind there is church. Those buildings right there are archetypical HDB apartments in Singapore, which you see all over the place. Right behind the National Library is Bugis Junction. Today it's pretty silent as of now because it's only about 12 o'clock on a Saturday. This here is normally packed, and it will get packed again soon. This whole area was called Kampong Bugis. Bugis are the tribals who were the original inhabitants of the island. So all these buildings out here are pre-World War II buildings which have been renovated and converted into, well, surprise, shopping center. Look at the name of the street. Malabar Street. Well, it's no longer a street, it's really a shopping center. And there you can see the National Library towering above where I am, which is Bugis Junction. Really lovely library. One of the assets of this place. Yeah, well, and that's the place where, inside the place where I was looking at. This is where I came from. That's Malabar Street. And this here is Bugis Junction. This is the largest covered shopping center in Singapore. And as I said, all this was actually pre-World War II streets. This is another street. Victoria Street this way, Malabar Street that way. This is what they've made of this place. This place is also sometimes called as Kampong Glam. Only shopping and more shopping. Well, that's the inside of Bugis Junction. Great movie playing here. Standard site in Singapore, shopping for electronics, more electronics. It's a nice place really, and I like this place because this was the first place where I ever saw a movie in Singapore way back in 1996. And this is the other side of it, the Intercontinental Hotel. Alright, those buildings out there are the gateway buildings, just facing Bugis Junction, which is here. So the gateway buildings are right there. And that yellow globe-like object there is the balloon, which I've been watching for the last half an hour, going up and down about at least 4 times in that half an hour. Bloody car passed by me. Idiot. So here in the Kampong Glam area, just behind Bugis, you find these buildings which were quite old, thankfully restored by the government and not pulled down. What do you see behind there, the tall building there? That's the Swiss Hotel. And there's a nice little restaurant right up there on the 70th floor, which has a restaurant. I mean, there is a restaurant there. So you get a good view of Singapore from up there. Now you see Mr. Balloon has gone up again. Those two buildings there, at least this one is the Suntec City building. And this building there is the Shaw Brothers building. And you can see the logo of Shaw Brothers, which has been pilfered from the Warner Brothers logo. It's SB instead of WB. Shaw Brothers are pretty much the premier cinema house all over Southeast Asia, in Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia. This is North Bridge Road, and to my left is Bugistan. Right, so I'm here at the Esplanade. That building there is what you saw previously, and which I told you was the Swiss Hotel. It's also called the Stamford, and it's on Stamford Road. So, right, so that is the CBD, the Central Business District. Well, there's a legal limit on the height of buildings in Singapore, which is I think 120 meters. So most of the tallest buildings in Singapore, I think there are about 4 or 5 of them, are exactly of the same height. So you see these two buildings. One of them is the UOB, and the other one's the OCBC building, but I'm not really sure. Well, this building, this thing up here is a restaurant again, just like the restaurant on top of the Stamford. So that restaurant there, this one, kind of revolves around and gives you a bird's eye view of Singapore. What you can't see here is that right below the CBD is the Padang cricket ground. So there's a huge expanse of green right in front of these buildings. Alright, so where I am right now are the theatres on the bay. I've come here to see a musical, The King and I. It's going to start in about 15 minutes. These buildings are also popularly known here as the Durians. Well, they look like durians. Something going on here, and there are 2 blokes there who seem to be filming, doing some kind of documentary probably. Alright, just came out after seeing this play at the Esplanade. Marvelously done production, very well done. The Durians. It was Anna Leonor, she did a very good job. But then King Mongut's role was played by this Japanese-American guy whose name I can't remember. But having seen Yul Brynner perform the same role, it's difficult to like anybody else playing it.